Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest who positively impacts our community. Today, I welcome Russell Etzenhouser. He's the President, Scouting Executive of Orange County Council, Scouting America. Thank you, Russell, for being on Impact OC.
Thank you, Don. I'm really happy to be here with you today and tell you a little bit about scouting.
Russell, I understand the mission of Scouting America is to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and Law. Please share with us the Scout Oath and Law.
The Scout Oath is, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, and to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
What are the demographics of your members?
The demographics of our members, we serve about 85% of our membership are boys, about 15% are girls, and they come from all different backgrounds all across Orange County. We have kids of every different faith group, every different racial and ethnic group, and it's just a bunch of fun kids learning to be great adults and great leaders in our society.
How young do they start?
We start out with programs for kindergarten age kids. We call it Lions, and we basically, scouting is broken up into 3 different segments for the most part. We have our youngest kids in our Cub Scout program, and those of us that are of a certain age will remember kids walking to school in the blue uniform because we would do our Cub Scouts right after school when most parents had a mom that might have stayed home. Those days are long gone. And then we have our Scouts BSA kids, which are in our tan uniforms, which is middle school and up. And then we have programs for high school age kids that actually go through age 20. So we have programs even for kids that are in college.
Well, share with us what they do in the youngest segments.
The youngest segments, what we and all of scouting is built around age-appropriate things that have an educational background to them, but it's all designed to be fun. And so for those youngest kids, they're learning about being responsible in the household, how to take care of themselves and be safe, how to be nice to each other. I mean, it's one of those things that they learn about sharing, but they also learn about the importance of doing chores around the house to help mom or dad out. Both parents today are going to be working. And so it's nice to have a kid that understands they've got a role to help keep the household going well as well.
And that's in Cub Scouts?
That starts out in Cub Scouts. So our in first, second, third grade, we introduce the concept of providing community service as well. And so they'll do a little service project as a group. It won't be anything that's necessarily huge, but it might be a little bit of a beach cleanup to help out with beach cleanup here in Orange County. That's always a popular thing to do. But again, it's teaching kids to be responsible as members of their family and the things that they can do together. And all of our younger programs are designed to be done with the family. So mom and dad and brother and sister can take part. And that's part of why we serve both boys and girls at all of our levels so that the family can do things together.
And then Scouts BSA?
Scouts BSA starts at the end of the 5th grade year, and it's predominantly middle school and high school age kids, and it ends at age 18. That's actually our oldest program. That's what started when scouting started in 1910. And by the way, that oath I recited is the exact same today as it was back in 1910. Not a single thing about the values of scouting have changed in the 115-year history of our organization. But in that group, that's where in Cub Scouts, they're doing fun stuff together, but in Scouts BSA, the fun stuff that they're doing is individual based. And so each of those kids will decide the things that they want to work on. They decide as a group, and that's really where they begin to learn leadership skills and group dynamics. And one of the things that our kids learn pretty quickly is that people don't do stuff just because you tell them to. You have to listen and talk and figure out a plan together. And that's really where they begin to develop those leadership skills. And that Scouts BSA program is really adventure based. Our kids here in Orange County, they might be hiking in the Sierras. We have places that they can go across the country to do all kinds of fun and exciting things. But of course, here in California, we have so many things to do. Scouts will hike up and scale to the peak of Mount Whitney and just do all kinds of fun and exciting things.
What's venturing?
Venturing is our older program. It starts in high school, and it's a program that really, as the kids get older, they take more and more of a role in deciding all the things that they're doing. The motto for venturing is to lead the adventure. And in venturing, we really emphasize and teach those kids how to lead the group. And we had a venture crew that actually during the pandemic planned and executed a trip to Antarctica. And they got to see some of the coolest things doing that. So our ventures, they'll usually do at least one, they call it a super activity, but it is something that is just, and it's whatever, they're only limited by the imagination of the kids with the things that they get to do. It's really a fun and exciting program.
Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout is the highest rank a scout can earn in Scouts BSA, and it is really the pinnacle achievement. It's probably the most recognized of the things in scouting. When you say that someone's an Eagle Scout, the community as a whole recognizes that. And that's a young person that has advanced through the ranks in Scouts BSA, and it's culminated with the rank of Eagle Scout. They have to complete 21 merit badges, and some of them are specific merit badges. They have to earn first aid. They have to learn about citizenship in the community and citizenship in the nation. There's a few other things that are merit badges that they have to do, and then they get to pick other things that are of interest to them. And our merit badges they run the gamut. And a lot of kids will have an experience in a merit badge that they really get excited about, and that can end up becoming their career field because of an experience that they had in scouting. But they also have to provide leadership, and then it's capped off by a significant service project that benefits the community. It can't benefit scouting. It has to benefit the community. Sometimes it might be their school. It might be their place of worship, a community park. And you could walk around Orange County and see things that were built by Eagle Scouts and have a little plaque that this was part of their service project. They typically are well over 100 hours of service, and they involve youth and adults, but it's all planned and directed by that Eagle Scout candidate. And it demonstrates that they can plan and execute a project, but also that they can provide leadership to that. And the purpose of the Eagle Scout project is to demonstrate that they can provide leadership.
Tell us about the person who will go through the program and succeed.
Well, the person that goes through the program and succeeds is really, and kind of one of the things that I think is very special about scouting is that everyone has the ability to succeed. And every person that joins Scouts BSA can be an Eagle Scout if they set that as a goal for themselves. They have to perform to a standard, but they get as many chances as they need to be successful until they turn 18. 18 is the time limit. They have to do it by the time that they're 18. But the beautiful thing in scouting, and it's life in general, as we do things, we're going to not be successful every time. And it's how we handle those setbacks that sets us apart as people and as leaders. And in scouting, they have that opportunity to fail in a safe environment with mentoring adults and other kids, older kids, that will help them to figure out what they can do differently the next time to be successful. So it's not like you can't do something and then you don't get a chance to figure it out. There are people to help you do that. And you think about it in the workplace, all the time, we're trying to do better and do things, and our ability to work together and problem solve and help to support each other really is the key of what makes a successful leader in the workplace. It's also what makes a successful kid in scouting.
What are the standards we're talking about?
Well, the standards, they're all built around the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. The Scout Law, it's incredible. It's 12 words. It's a scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And when you think about it, they sound like 12 simple words, but they're really 12 powerful aspirational goals. And when I talk to scouts and sometimes leaders, one of the things we'll talk about is those 12 words are measures that we try to live up to. And we won't be successful every day, but we can work to try to do better at that. And because we expect, and trustworthy is the first part of the Scout Law, because if you don't have trust, then nothing works. And it's capped off with the scout is reverent. We don't define what reverent means, and reverent, it really means what that child and their family believes, but it is broad and it involves all different faith groups, and it involves kids that are figuring out their faith as well. We feel that it's critically important for a child to have that kind of faith experience, but we don't in any way define what it is. But really, it's helping to get that young person. And when you think about the ages, at the end of the 5th grade, that's a kid that's typically 11 years old. And that 11, 12, 13 is really when they kind of set their sort of value system. I refer to it as kind of a moral compass. And if they're thinking it, and every scout meeting opens with the Scout Oath and Law. And if they're thinking about those 12 simple words and ways that they can do better at that, it makes them just better people to be around. And the whole purpose of scouting is to help that young person stretch and be the best version of themselves they can be, but they're doing it in an environment with caring adults and with activities, and it's all based in the outdoors. We use the outdoors kind of as our laboratory for Scouts BSA, but it's a wonderful place for kids to be physically active as well as to challenge themselves. When I was a scout, I learned how to be able to start a fire on my own and to manage it correctly, to use it to be able for warmth. I grew up in a cold part of the country where it rained a lot, and as well as to prepare food and cook over it. We teach our scouts, even how to bake a cake over a campfire. You can actually do that with a Dutch oven, and we teach them how to do that. We make cobbler and basically have fun together. But we teach them how to do these things, and at the end of the day, we're teaching them how to be responsible and to build self-confidence and to have those interpersonal skills to be able to be leaders. And one of the things that they learn about being a leader is that in order to be a good leader, you also have to know how to be a good follower. We can't all be in charge, and we have to be able to work together to come to a common goal that we want to achieve, and then be able to achieve that together.
So what happens at the meetings?
Well, at a meeting, and the meetings, it really is up to what those boys or girls want to do. In Cub Scouts, it's an organized program that it has great fun activities for them to do. There's games that they'll do. There might be some crafts, but they're going to be learning something, and it's going to be, a lot of it will be based in the outdoors. When they get into Scouts BSA, the scouts themselves pick what they want to do at meetings, but typically they're going to be working on learning a skill. They're going to be meeting in their little subgroups, which we call patrols. So they're organized usually in groups of 6 to 8 boys or girls, and they elect a leader for that group, and they'll plan the things that they want to do. They may be planning their overnight. Once a month, they'll usually go camping, and so they'll plan the activities that they want to do. Each patrol will plan its own menu, and they'll bring the different things so that they can cook their meal together. And that way they have to learn how to share and how to plan things well. They're only out for the weekend, so if they forget an ingredient, it's not the end of the world. The adults that are there will make sure that they don't go hungry, but they learn from that, and they learn that they've got to check their list and be responsible and make it work. But they'll usually then do some skills, and they'll also play a game, have some fun. But again, it's all in the context of the Scout Oath and Law and learning that personal interaction with one another under the guidance of an adult. But really, it's the boys or the girls that are planning those activities and carrying them out. And it's incredibly fun to watch, because you'll see these kids when they first start out in that leadership role. They're figuring it out, but as they have some experience in that leadership role, they get better and better at it, and it's amazing the things that these kids are able to turn around and do.
Now, do they try to earn badges?
They do, and so they'll earn merit badges, and sometimes at a meeting they might be working on parts of a merit badge, and they also can work individually on those merit badges. The merit badges that they have to earn for the rank of Eagle Scout are ones that they might do, in a group setting, but some of the kids might be interested in veterinary science or in chemistry or we have small boat sailing is a fun one that they get to do. And we have some different facilities where they can go and earn those merit badges. We have a facility in Newport Beach on Pacific Coast Highway, the sea base. We've been down there since the 1930s. And they can go down and earn canoeing merit badge, or they can earn motorboating merit badge, or small boat sailing, among other things.
Share some stories about some scouts that who went all the way through the ranks to Eagle Scout.
Well, I've had the privilege of being a volunteer leader in the troop that my sons have been in, and you see just a lot of kids who do some really interesting and great things. Just this last weekend, I was at it was actually at a district dinner, so it was just a fun activity to recognize volunteer leaders, and it was in the Huntington Beach area. And I was there to present an award to a scout who had he's just a great young man. He grew up through the program as a Cub Scout in Huntington Beach, and then in Scouts, and he's a college student now. And he just completed his freshman year. And so he went to the school he went to is back east, and they had a program for freshmen to go camping for a week to get to know each other before school started, as kind of an orientation thing, because college obviously can be pretty high stress. And so they're out camping, and he's an Eagle Scout and he knows his camping skills really well. And they were using white gas stoves to cook dinner. And this one white gas stove had a leaky tank, and it was leaking, and the fuel was catching fire and accumulating on the ground, making a bigger and bigger fire. And Chris said, well, that's not supposed to do that. And he went over and said, hey, we need to take care of this. And they kind of shoot him away. They said, well, no, we've got this. It's all covered. And so the flames were getting bigger, and he went and got a shovel and started putting dirt on it to put it out. And he's supposed to be a participant. He's not supposed to be leading it. And they're saying, oh, no, we'll take care of it. And so they started to put some dirt on it, and they shoot him away. Well, this tank blew up. And it showered this lady, a young lady who's just a couple years older than him, with burning white gas. He heard the bang, he turned around, so I immediately shouted, stop, drop, and roll, ran over it. The way he described it, he has no idea how he got on the other side of the flames. He said he figured adrenaline must have just kicked in. But he patted out the flames on the lady. He sustained some burns on his arms. He didn't even realize it at the time, probably because of the adrenaline. But the young lady had only very minor burns as a result. Everybody else was frozen, but our Eagle Scout sprung into action and maybe saved this person's life. And just incredible. And this is just the humblest kid. And, when I talked to him last weekend, it was actually 2 weeks ago, he said, we do this all the time. And I couldn't believe that, we weren't getting this stuff right, but he knew what to do. He was in the right place at the right time. And as a result, what could have been a horribly tragic accident was an inconvenience, and the person had some burns, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. And so we recognized him with a Heroism Award, putting his own self in danger when he was doing that. But that's sort of the archetype of an Eagle Scout, but just the humblest kid. And he was excited to get to meet me. I was excited to get to meet him because it was just such an amazing thing that he had done. And to him, he's just doing what he's supposed to do.
Can a girl attain Eagle Scout?
Absolutely. And girls, and we have some amazing young women. One of the things that we do every year at our annual banquet, where we recognize our volunteers and our Eagle Scouts, is we recognize the Eagle Scout Project of the Year. And the Eagle Scouts, they decide what they want their project to be, and there's no real boundaries. And it doesn't have to be a giant monumental thing, although it tends toward that direction because the kids get big ideas. And this last year, the young lady that we recognized, she had the Eagle Scout Project of the Year. Every Eagle Scout has the opportunity to submit that, and we have an advancement committee that looks at the different projects, and they'll select one to be the Project of the Year. And then there's a national competition that they can go to beyond that. But her project was dealing with a temporary homelessness shelter in her community, where families who are temporarily unhoused can go and they get their feet on the ground and get back in to the workforce and can get stable again. Well, they come with kids, and the home that they had, it had this torn up backyard that really wasn't a fun, safe place for kids. And so she saw this, and I think she had been involved with this group through church. And so with her Eagle Scout project, she converted the backyard into a fun play area for the kids. It took care of all the dangerous stuff, put in plants to make it a nice area. She also has a little artistic bent and put a really nice mural up there, and really used her scouting skills to get the team together to rebuild this so it was a fun, safe place for kids, and had a nice mural. And now there's this beautiful place that kids can play in that. It's a very, very difficult and stressful time for those kids. To give them a space where they can hopefully relax a little bit during this stressful time with their family is a great thing.
Talk about the benefits of being involved with scouting.
Well, and the benefits, and it's funny because it benefits me as an adult. I've been a Scout all my life. I'm also an Eagle Scout. But the things that I've gotten to do with my kids are things that I don't think I ever would have thought about, even though I've grown up through the program and been in Scouts for over 50 years. But the things that we get to do as parents is it's a fun outdoor activity, and it's great to be in the outdoors. You can go in the mountains. We have actually facilities out on Catalina Island. There's a couple of camps that are out there that operate. But you get to go out and you're doing fun things with your kids and with other parents. And so the friendships that I've made with other leaders in Scouts have been phenomenal. And they're parents of kids who have the same ideas of, let's make these kids independent. Let's make these kids responsible citizens. Let's make these kids the best kids that they can be. And they do all different things. There's one of the parents who's the leader of our Cub Scout group down in Huntington Beach, one of the troops there, packs that is down there. He grew up in the program in Garden Grove and is just excited to get to do it with his son. He's an Eagle Scout, but he works for Mattel today. I think he does some Hot Wheel stuff, which is kind of cool. But you just get to meet all of these adults who really care about kids and want our kids to just be the best that they can be. And it's just a lot of fun. Now for our kids, they get to go and do stuff. They're not on their video games. They're actually out and being physically active. And that is such an important thing for kids today. Today, there's just so many things that are going on in these kids' lives. We're very concerned about mental health with kids. We're also concerned about making sure that we're preventing self-harm and suicide. It is a real urgent concern, particularly for boys today. The percentage of kids, boys and men, that are falling victim to suicide post-pandemic it's just shot up in the most frightening way. Getting kids in the outdoors and being physically active with other caring adults that also can help recognize some of these things, and we can help provide counseling services and referrals to counseling services if that's needed. But for our kids, they are in an exciting program with their parents and just having a great time, and that's such a preventive thing for those kids. But today, it seems like today everything revolves around, some video or something on the internet. And there's nothing wrong with the internet. It would have been nice if guardrails had been established to protect children from certain things that children don't need to be exposed to on the internet. But in scouting, they get out and they're physically active, and they have to interact one-on-one with one another, and they learn the value of that. 4 of the 12 points of the Scout Law are things I recite all the time. It's helpful, friendly, courteous, and kind. And if we all had that perspective as we deal with one another, and when you're dealing with a screen, you don't see the person's facial expression. You don't get to see the impact of the words that you might thoughtlessly type on a screen. But when you have that conversation back and forth, you learn to value that person. And today, bullying in society, it's always been a problem, but it feels like it's gotten even worse, particularly after the pandemic. And so we have programs to actively help kids understand that there's a better way to do stuff. And there's nothing that we should do working together that doesn't help to build each other up. In fact, we conduct training for our young adults who are helping to run our programs to help them recognize warning signs and things that we can do to intervene and help those kids understand that that's not why we're here. As scouts, we're here to take care of one another, and we can help them figure out ways to be active and not have to be harmful or hurtful to other people.
You were telling me that when you attain Eagle Scout, there are many benefits you get in life.
There are, and one of the things is Eagle Scout is very well recognized. And so when Eagle Scout is on someone's resume, I've been told by business leaders that that's a resume that they take a second look at. They put it at the top of the list. And that's from companies all across, Apple or other Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. They put real value in, because what it does is this is a young person who has been proven to be able to accomplish a task. They can set a project out, they can plan it, they can lead it, and they can see it to completion. And that's what everyone wants in the workforce, are workers that can do that and can be self-starters and make things happen. And there's no program for Eagle Scout where today you're going to do this, tomorrow you're going to do this. You set that program for yourself. And that's a really big benefit, because you have to be a self-starter in order to make that happen. Now, there's tons of encouragement from parents and adults who help, any child that wants to get to that rank of Eagle Scout. We work hard to help them have those opportunities, but they have to decide to do it for themselves. We won't do it for them. And that's the way life is. Work doesn't do it for you. You have to do work yourself. But being an Eagle Scout means that you can set that goal and you can achieve it. And you can also help to lead people in accomplishing those goals.
How is scouting funded?
Scouting is funded primarily through donations. And we have, some of the things we do, there are fees to go to summer camp and things like that. And one of the 12 points of the Scout Law is a Scout is thrifty. And in the explanation of a Scout is thrifty, it's a Scout pays his own way or her own way. So they will do chores to earn money, or they will do different things to help to pay their way to go to summer camp. But in terms of how scouting in general is funded, we have programs where we'll do special events as fundraisers. We have a big gala coming up in November where we will celebrate scouting, but we also use it as a way to help provide scouting for people that maybe can't afford it. We want kids all across Orange County to be able to do that. We had a generous benefactor who donated money just this last year so that any scout who can't afford scouts can be a part of it. We want those kids to be in that program, and they will benefit greatly from that program.
What is a trait that those looking outside in will say about those who are in scouting?
I think the traits that people will see is that they're dependable, they care about their community, and they're kids that are positive and excited about the world around them. They're curious kids, but they really care. And I think, our kids today really do care, and scouting gives them a vehicle to sort of focus that in a way where they can benefit the community. It isn't, and I hope and work with our scouts to help us to also look outward. It's not always just about us. It's about what can we do more broadly. And we introduced this concept of a service project quite young, and it's a requirement for the second rank in Scouts BSA. It's also a concept that is performed through even our Cub Scout, our elementary school age program. But it's to get those kids to think about, I can make a difference in the community. And we can. And so, I expect a scout to not walk by a piece of trash on the ground. I expect them to pick it up and throw it away. I mean, as minor and as insignificant as that might seem, it's just a different mindset. And I, as a lifelong scout, I just find myself, okay, I've got to go, throw that away, whatever it is. But it's about thinking about what can I do to make our community better. And if everybody thought that, our communities would just be amazing. And we live in a wonderful place, and we are so fortunate here in Orange County and here in the United States. But if we were all scouts, there'd be a whole different tenor of conversation, and it would just be an amazing thing.
How can people get involved with scouting?
To get involved in scouting, you can go out through our website, ocscouting.org, and there's a button you can click on to tell you how to get involved. And you can get your kid involved that way. Beascout.org. If you go to that, so it's ocscouting.org and Beascout, BEASCOUT.org. Be a Scout takes you to like a Google Maps thing that shows you Cub Scout packs and Scouts BSA troops in your area, along with contact information. And then ocscouting.org shows you all the different things that we have going on. We have a wonderful facility behind Irvine Regional Park. It's about 210 acres that we built 15 years ago. That's just an amazing campus. It delivers outdoor science school to kids across Orange County. The land was given to us by the Irvine Company with the charge that we would deliver outdoor science programs to elementary school kids across Orange County.
Well, thank you, Russell Etzenhouser, the President, Scouting Executive, Orange County Council, Scouting America, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.